Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss?, where today I want to share with you a rumor about the upcoming Star Trek film, which will be the fourth film released by J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot Studios. Since the film was officially greenlit more than a year ago and given a 2023 release date, there has not been much forward movement as far as the public has been told. Most recently, the man that was hired to direct the film, Matt Shakman, removed himself from the project in favor of directing the Fantastic Four film for Marvel and Disney Studios. Since this announcement, fans have been waiting to hear any kind of positive update, especially with the film's reported release date about a year away. Well, today a report comes from an online source that the fourth film in the Kelvinverse is not only still on the way, but that it will feature a new recast Next Generation crew that will begin a series of movies. This would be a surprising move by the studio, however, if you look at what they have been working towards the past few years, it does start to make some sense. But before I go over the story as well as the evidence, I want to thank you for clicking on this video and ask that if you do enjoy it, to remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. This doesn't cost you anything, but it is a great way to help me out by getting my videos out to more people. This rumor comes to us from a source at the website Giant Freakin' Robot, which I referenced on this channel before. This site seems to have a better track record than most when reporting rumors, such as when they revealed that characters from Lower Decks would be appearing on Strange New Worlds months before the studio let the public know. In this case, they are reporting that the next film in the Star Trek franchise will include characters from the Enterprise D Next Generation cast, but that it will be recast with younger actors, and the movie will act as a new beginning for this cast in future movies. The site does not explicitly state whether or not members of the Kelvinverse cast will be a part of this movie as well, but in the original timeline, the cast of the original series and the Next Generation were separated by over 100 years, making a meeting between the two casts difficult, but not unlikely. Starting with a new cast may be exactly what this franchise needs, since one of the issues with getting the movie produced has been signing on the former cast. Since the last film in the series, 2016 Star Trek Beyond, several members of the cast have had very successful careers in other franchises, such as Zoe Saldana, who is about to appear in 3 more Avatar movies, and Karl Urban, who is the star of the Amazon series The Boys. Because of their schedules and their contract needs, it is much harder now to get each cast member to sign on for another film, and with the tepid reaction to Star Trek Beyond, it is possible that some may not even be interested in playing these roles again 6 or 7 years later. To that point, when Paramount revealed to the public that another movie was being produced, the cast of Star Trek Beyond was very surprised to hear it. This could be because even at that time, Paramount knew that signing the former cast would not be a priority if they were starting fresh with a new cast. Let's also not forget that signing on a new cast would also cost a lot less, something I'm sure the studio has considered after negotiating with these actors for some time. Then the question becomes, would the public accept a new cast filling the roles of the Next Generation crew? And I think the answer to that has to be a resounding yes. Star Trek has now recast all of its major characters from its early days, first in the 2009 film, which recast every major character from the original series, and then again in 2022 with the release of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, a series that recast characters from the original series, as well as the pilot episode The Cage. If you look back at all the projects that have been released since Star Trek Enterprise went off the air, the 2009 film and Strange New Worlds are the most popular with the critics and fans. So it would seem that Star Trek fans are very welcoming of new actors taking on these beloved characters as long as they are cast correctly and the story feels like Star Trek. Now, whatever does happen with this film, I do not think there's any way that it still gets released in 2023 unless it has been filmed in secret somehow. But we already know that the Next Generation cast will be returning to the small screen in 2023 on the final season of the series Star Trek Picard. This season will reintroduce the cast of the Next Generation after they have not been seen for 20 years. Not only will this be a great way to send off these characters, but it will also increase their popularity because they will be taking part in this new story. Studios will often do this when they are trying to create new films or series based in an established universe, such as when George Lucas re-released his original trilogy of Star Wars films in the theaters before he released the prequel trilogy. I think it could be really cool to see the original cast from the Next Generation get a proper send-off and then have them brought back as younger characters in a new film franchise. It is highly unlikely, though, that anyone cast for an upcoming film would appear on the series, since filming on that has been complete for months. But if this movie is set to set off a new series of films, it will be interesting if they will be kept within the Kelvin timeline established by the 2009 film. While that movie stated that everyone there would be affected by the events and have their lives changed accordingly, it may be too far removed for when this new cast would arrive on the Enterprise D to make an impact. For instance, I think that a new version of the TNG pilot episode, Encounter at Farpoint, with a big movie budget and 21st century effects, could be amazing, but since even the most entry-level fan of The Next Generation knows what happens in that episode, it would not be as exciting as a new story would. If the studio does decide to recast the Next Generation crew with younger actors, I believe they'll have to include them in an adventure that also resets their timeline, similar to the 2009 film. I don't think they will be able to retell old stories in a new way, and the disaster that was Star Trek Into Darkness should have taught the producers and writers the same lesson. There have been also rumors that the Star Trek universe is heading towards a large crossover event, and this film could be the result or the beginning of said event. As I mentioned earlier, we already know that in the next season of Strange New Worlds, 2 characters from Lower Decks will be appearing in live form. And let's not also forget that Strange New Worlds would not even exist as a series if 3 characters from there did not first appear on Star Trek Discovery. So Star Trek has already been testing the waters with crossover events for some time now, and doing so again on film would seem to be the next step. If the producers are only able to sign 1 or 2 members of the original Kelvinverse cast, they could have them on an adventure that puts them into contact with the new cast and crew of the Enterprise D. The film Generations did something very similar, even though the cast of The Next Generation had already been established by the time that movie came out. If the plan is to pass the movie baton from one cast to another, having Chris Pine show up for one more movie as Captain Kirk and interact with the new Captain Picard could be a lot of fun. Each series and cast of Star Trek has had to deal with time travel and parallel timelines that create new dimensions, so really anything is on the table. Once the story is decided on and a new director is found, casting will be the next most important facet of this project, and that could be daunting. However, Star Trek has shown they are very adept at finding the right people to play their parts, and the cast of their newest incarnation, Strange New Worlds, is a testament to that. Anson Mount has quickly become one of the most popular actors in Star Trek because of his portrayal of Captain Christopher Pike, and likewise, Ethan Peck has received praise as the 3rd actor to take on the role of Spock. So hopefully the studio will be able to use the same magic to find its new cast as it did when it cast Strange New Worlds. Honestly, if you take a step back and look at what Star Trek has been doing the past few years, it does look like they are building towards something big that could redefine their universe, and a film with a new Enterprise D cast would do just that. While there will be some people disappointed that the Kelvinverse cast only got 3 movies, having 1 or 2 characters from those films appear in this one could lessen the blow. Also, bringing the original Next Generation cast back for the last season of Picard will keep them fresh in the minds of fans and increase their popularity before a movie is released. And Star Trek has had a good history of rebooting and recasting with the success of the 2009 film and Strange New Worlds. So all in all, this makes a lot of sense to me, and I look forward to seeing another Star Trek film with a new cast. But let me know what you think about this rumor in the comments and who you would like to see cast in the film. Well, that is everything I have this time, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please hit the like button if you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time on What Did I Miss?